RyTuneX is a free and open source program that allows you to optimize and tweak Windows 10 and Windows 11 operating systems. The application lets you disable unnecessary Windows features and services, remove unwanted apps, optimize system performance, configure network settings, and more. You can install the program in two ways: by copying the installation command from the GitHub page, then running PowerShell as administrator, pasting the copied command, pressing enter, and waiting for the installation process to finish. The second method is to download the program in zip format from GitHub or from the official website. When you visit the site, click the download button. After downloading, you will need to extract the contents of the zip file. You can do this by clicking on the file and selecting Extract All from the top menu, or by right-clicking on the file and choosing the same option, Extract All. You can save the contents anywhere you like. By default, it will be saved in the same folder as the zip file. In the newly created folder, you will see an icon named RyTuneX Setup. When you click on it, you will first get a warning from the Microsoft Defender that the application is from unknown publisher. Click on the More Info link, after which a Run Anyway button will appear. After that, you will need to agree to the terms of use by checking I agree and clicking the Next button. You will then see a brief description of the application. To start the installation process, click the Install button. Once the installation process completes successfully, you will see the message Installation succeeded. When you run the program for the first time, you will be notified that it is highly recommended to create a restore point before making any adjustments using this program, so you can revert everything to its original state if anything goes wrong. To do this, click the Continue button, which will open the system properties for the disk where Windows is installed. Click the Configure button. In the new window, first select the Turn on System Protection option if it isn't already enabled. Then specify how much disk space you want to allocate to this purpose by moving the slider to the desired size. As you move the slider, you will see information showing the percentage of the disk allocated to this purpose, with the size in gigabytes shown in the parentheses. After making these adjustments, click the Apply or OK button to save the settings. Then click the Create button to create the restore point. Enter an intuitive name for the restore point that will help you remember when or why you created it. Then click the Create button and wait for the process to finish. You will receive a message: the restore point was created successfully. Now we can proceed with customizing Windows. On the main screen of the RyTuneX program, you will see data about your computer's resource usage, such as current RAM memory usage, occupied disk space, the number of installed applications, running processes, services, and so on. On the left side, you will see all the options for system adjustments, such as security, optimization, privacy, and so on. Now we will go through these options and mention some settings you might want to apply to your computer. When you click on Optimize, you get a list of all the settings you can adjust regarding computer performance optimization. As you can see, the list of possibilities is quite long. You can enable any of these options by clicking the slider next to the name or description of the specific option. If you disable an option and change your mind later, you can re-enable it in the same way by simply clicking the slider again. Disable background apps prevents applications from automatically running in the background, which can improve computer performance. Autocomplete disables automatic text completion suggestions, since it is necessary to detect the text you are typing to provide suggestions. If you don't want anyone to know what you are typing, enable this option. Crash dump disables the automatic creation and sending of reports related to applications crashes or errors. Remote assistance. This option disables remote control of your computer. If you need this feature, you can re-enable it later, but from a security standpoint, it is not advisable to have it constantly enabled. Add Copy Move context menu. Enabling this option adds Copy to and Move to options to the right-click context menu. This can be useful as it allows for easy moving or copying the files and folders. Low disk space checks notifies you when available storage falls below a safe threshold. Remote registry. By activating this option, you disable remote installation or modification of Windows registry files. This is recommended for improving security. In addition to these general settings, there are also advanced optimization settings. Optimize System Profile will activate profile options that are best for performance. Disable sysmain disables the sysmain service, which preloads frequently used applications into RAM memory. Enable Game Mode. If you play games, you can enable this option to turn on game mode. Exclude drivers from Windows updates. Enabling this option prevents driver updates during Windows Update. Compress OS enables compression of the operating system itself. To reduce used space on the hard drive, you can enable this if you have a low-capacity hard drive, otherwise it is not recommended. Disable service host splitting prevents the splitting of Microsoft services into multiple processes. Optimize NTFS settings. Optimize NTFS, the file system format used for hard drives in Windows. Optimize foreground app performance. This option adjusts the priority of executing foreground applications. After the advanced settings, we have other performance-related settings. System Restore disables the automatic creation of restore point. Disable Cortana. This option disables Cortana, although as far as I know it is not really active anymore, it still exists in Windows for some reason. Store Updates disables automatic updates of applications installed from the Microsoft Store. Automatic Updates disables automatic Windows system updates. Smart Screen. If you disable this option, you will not receive warnings about installing potentially unsafe apps or downloading unsafe files from the internet. Therefore, this is not recommended for most users. After going through the options related to computer optimization, when we click on Repair, you get the ability to scan the disk for errors and fix them if they exist. Check battery health if using a laptop, run memory diagnostics, and optimize hard drive. When you click on Debloat, you will get a list of applications installed on your computer. System apps are not on this list by default, but you can change this by clicking the drop-down menu in the Filter By section and selecting the All Apps option. You can uninstall any detected apps that you don't need by selecting them and then clicking the Uninstall Selected Apps button. Also, if you want to remove a specific application, you can find it by entering the application name in the search segment. When you select the applications you want to remove and click the Uninstall Selected Apps button, you will get a list of the selected applications. To confirm your decision, click the Continue button, after which the removal of selected applications will begin. Also, in this segment, besides removing applications, you can clear temporary files and folders by clicking the Clear System Temp button. It is advisable to do this from time to time to clean Windows from unnecessary files generated by the operating system and various applications. When we click on Privacy, we get a list of all settings related to privacy grouped into 3 categories. The first group relates to the settings for ads. I will disable all these settings because I don't want my data used for showing targeted ads. The second group includes settings related to telemetry, in other words, settings for collecting data about operating system and application usage. I will also disable all these options. The third group contains other privacy-related settings. In this segment, I will disable only 3 options: disable handwriting data sharing, disable text input data collecting, and disable input personalization. Disabling the other options in this segment could lead to difficulties using the system itself and the inability to run some applications, but of course adjust everything according to your needs. When we click on Features, the first you will see system features, such as enabling dark mode, enabling hibernation, disabling the creation and automatic sending of error reports, disabling the game bar, and so on. After these general system settings, we have options specific to Windows 11, such as activating the End Task option, reverting to the classic right-click context menu style characteristic for Windows 10, disabling recommendation in the Start menu, disabling the widgets features that shows news, weather, and other similar services, disabling the Edge Discover bar, disabling AI features like Microsoft Copilot and Windows Recall. After these settings, when you click on Networking, you get options for network configuration. Here you can set and specify the DNS service to use, such as Cloudflare, Google, OpenDNS, and so on. After you have made all your settings, if you want to save them, for example to apply them to another computer, when you click on Settings, you will see an Export option. When you click on this button, your settings will be saved as a file on a desktop. You can of course apply saved settings by clicking the Import button and then selecting the file you previously created. If you wish, in this segment you can also reset all the changes you have made by clicking the Revert All Changes button. You can leave any questions, suggestions, and ideas for future video content in the comments. Thanks to everyone who took the time to watch this video. I hope you find it useful or at least informative.